If there was a smell Jungkook could live without for the rest of his life, it would probably be coffee. He used to love the smell, waking up to it brewing in the kitchen by deft hands by someone who was once everything. Someone who showed him beauty in monotony, showed him that this one act of service every morning could be a promise of forever. He got his job because it reminded him of him. The smell of coffee on lips, a splash of brown on a grey sweatshirt you only wear at home. Now he's stuck with this job, smelling like someone who once was. It's not that he didn't like the coffee shop. No, he loved his regulars. His co-workers are fantastic. He thinks every day, maybe today will be the day I walk in, smell the coffee, and I'm suddenly free. That day has yet to come. He sat in his car on his break, watching the cars pass by on the busy road across from the parking lot. It's been a year. An entire year stuck in one place. Time has never moved from that day for him. Groundhog Day, every day. His therapist said everyone's heart heals at its own pace, but Jungkook knows that his heart is no longer with him. It's in the tote bag of a brunette boy with big eyes and a sarcastic tongue. Too long gone to ask for it back. Does he know that it's been a year? A year since lithe arms held each other, crumpled on the ground in puddles of their own tears? A year since he looked into those brown eyes and saw nothing but regret. There was nothing they could do really. Long distance just could not work for them, work for Jungkook. It wasn't in Jungkook's emotional capacity to be able to handle his lover living halfway across the world, and he knew it. He was honest about it when he said it could never work. He regrets never giving it a solid try, wasn't even willing to. Why had he been so stubborn? Why throw such a fit? His lover had the chance to get his dream job and he couldn't even try for him. He would do it over again if he could, give it one solid try. He would do anything. Anything to not feel so raw anymore. He sighed as the alarm on his phone went off, signaling his 15-minute break was over. He checked himself over in the rearview mirror before getting out of his car and throwing the keys into his apron. The weather today feels exactly as it did a year ago. Frigid wind cutting through him to his bones. He only remembered the feeling in hindsight. He was too catatonic the day to really feel outside stimuli. Everything okay? Jungkook's co-worker, Yoongi, asked. Jungkook just shrugged, moving his pouted lips to the side in effort to stop wet air from falling. He hates when people ask that. He hates how easy it is to make him cry. It should be at this point, right? Jungkook half-heartedly chuckled. Yoongi gave him a knowing look, having been by his side through everything in the past year. One day Jungkook, it'll be here and it'll be marvelous, Yoongi reassured. I feel silly, being stuck here. The world moved on without me. How am I supposed to catch up? You know, Jungkook asked as he retied his apron. Yoongi put the cup he was washing onto the rack and wiped his wet hands on his apron. If I had an answer for everything, I'd be a millionaire. Unfortunately, there are things in life you can only figure out on your own, but I'm always by you for your journey. You'll catch up one day. In a world where Orpheus didn't follow Eurydice into the underworld, Jungkook at least has Yoongi down here with him. Jungkook took this for an answer, walking out to the front with a bucket and rag in hand to wipe surfaces. Coffee stains. The smell of it on the breath wafting up his neck while the voice whispers how he's such a good boy in his ear. He shook the memory off and let it roll off his back, and he idly continued his work, trying not to disturb people writing on their computers or reading their books. He'd love to be sitting and painting right now. That's been his main outlet since the breakup. Well, that and periodically screaming at the top of his lungs. He's been mostly painting scenery right now, making up beautiful places that he would like to go to. Imagining places he could go by himself, where the sky is so beautiful and the water is so clear that he doesn't have the capacity to think about anything else but its beauty. The door chimed as it opened, and it sounded like Jungkook's demise. It sucked the air from Jungkook's lungs as it was closed by a large, nimble hand on the knob. Veins that were as familiar as his own but so foreign. Ice took hold of Jungkook's body, capturing him in place, unable to look away from the scene playing out before him. He's never seen him in a suit and tie before. It's not him. He always wore polos and shorts that came right above his knees. Big, fluffy sweaters and baggy jeans. Fluffy, ruffled hair, never slicked back as it is now. "You still work here?" Taehyung started from his spot at the door. Jungkook nodded, throwing his towel into the bucket and walking behind the counter. "Can I get you anything?" Jungkook asked him, his voice wavering much less than he had anticipated. "You can look at me," Taehyung insisted. "You overestimate me," Jungkook retorted, shaking his head. He kept his eyes locked on the order screen, waiting for Taehyung to tell him his order. Nothing else but his order. "Please just order then leave." Jungkook, Taehyung pleaded. "What would you like to order?" Taehyung, Jungkook muttered as he looked up finally. "He's as beautiful as the day he left." "Don't you already know?" Taehyung inquired, eyebrows raised in the middle. Jungkook did know. He didn't want to, but he knew everything. Everything there is to know about the person in front of him. Just a person. He's just a person. "What size do you want it?" Jungkook asked as he typed iced Americano into the order screen. "It's kind of late. I'll do a medium," Taehyung decided. Jungkook felt the familiar unwarranted anger bubbling in his stomach as he sent the order through to Yoongi in the back room. "How have you been?" Jungkook asked softly. All Jungkook could do was chuckle. "I'll be out with your order in a minute," Jungkook told him, and he simply nodded before he walked into the back room. Hell froze over, Jungkook stated as Yoongi poured ice into a cup. "I see him." Yoongi nodded. Yoongi put a lid on the cup and handed it back to Jungkook, a small smile on his face. Jungkook gathered his strength and walked back out, sliding the drink across the counter. "Could we talk?" Taehyung asked as he accepted the drink. "Not here, not now." Jungkook shook his head. "When do you get out?" he asked, staring down at the drink in his hand. Jungkook looked to the clock on the wall behind Taehyung, knowing this last hour of his shift will be the longest of his life. "An hour," Jungkook informed him. "We can go to mine for privacy," he added. "Do you still live at the same place?" Taehyung mumbled, idly stirring his drink. "Yeah, I do." Jungkook nodded. "How?" After, Taehyung trailed off. That's when Jungkook knew that Taehyung knew. It had been a year. Taehyung walked out without another word and Jungkook ran right to the freezer to scream at the top of his lungs. "What did Atlas have to say?" Yoongi asked as Jungkook walked back out, putting up the last dish there was to wash. "Don't call him that. He wants to talk. I told him to come over when I'm out," Jungkook told him. "You can go." Jungkook, "Not like anyone else is gonna come in for the rest of the night. I'll just lock up," Yoongi encouraged. "Are you sure?" Jungkook idled by Yoongi as he drained the sink water. "I'm the manager. What I say goes." Yoongi nodded. "And remember, I'm one phone call and a 5-minute walk away if you need me," Yoongi reminded as Jungkook hung up his apron. "Thank you. You are truly the greatest gift in my life," Jungkook told Yoongi as he gave him the tightest hug he could muster. "Get off me, I'm taken," Yoongi joked. Jungkook walked out into the empty lobby, shutting most of the lights off for Yoongi before walking outside. "Hey," he heard the voice say from the bench in front of the coffee shop. "You just planned on sitting out here till I got out?" "It's freezing," Jungkook exclaimed. "Yeah, I figured we could walk together." Taehyung shrugged. "I drove here," Jungkook explained. Jungkook started walking towards his car, Taehyung in tow. It felt so familiar to have his presence behind him. Like his appendage was missing but grew back. They silently got into Jungkook's car, driving home in silence. Each thinking about what they're gonna say to each other, no doubt. Jungkook had so much to say to Taehyung. How sorry he was mostly. How sorry he was for being childish, willing to throw away everything there because he was so stubborn. How much he hurts and how much he misses him. How he understands if Tae-hyung didn't forgive him cause he probably wouldn't either. But he wants to hold his hand. God, he wants to hold his hand. They pulled into the parking lot of Jungkook's apartment, getting out of the car and Jungkook leading the way up, even though Tae-hyung didn't need to be shown. It was once his home too. Jungkook's veins vibrated as they walked upstairs, shoving his key into his door and opening it. He doesn't know who leaned in first. All he knew is those coffee-flavored lips were finally on his. Tae-hyung's hands roaming his body felt like home. They quickly backed their way to the bedroom, shedding clothes on the journey there. I've missed you more than words can express, Tae-hyung admitted into Jungkook's hair as he caged Jungkook into the bed. Jungkook ran his fingers up Tae-hyung's bare spine, grounding himself with the scent of Tae-hyung's hair. Tae-hyung kissed down his torso, open-mouthed kiss over his heart. There's nothing underneath there to kiss, Jungkook dismissed. It's here, Tae-hyung reassured, patting the left side of his own chest. Tears gathered in Jungkook's eyes as he arched his body against Tae-hyung's, needing to be as close as possible. Their tongues messily explored each other's mouths. Jungkook couldn't help the sobs leaving his mouth. I know, baby, I know, I feel it, Tae-hyung nodded against Jungkook's mouth. Tae-hyung wiped the tears from Jungkook's eye. I'll make it all better, baby, Tae-hyung promised against the skin of Jungkook's stomach. Jungkook covered his face as a wretched sob ripped from his lungs. The most beautiful boy in the world, Tae-hyung mumbled. Need you so bad, Jungkook cried. Tae-hyung nodded. Relax, baby boy, it's me. It was overwhelming to feel Tae-hyung all around him. Feels like home, Tae-hyung mumbled against Jungkook's lips. Made for you, Jungkook reassured. I know you were, baby, never a doubt in my mind. There was no possible way that anyone could know Jungkook's body the way that Tae-hyung knows. He's spent hours. He always put in the time and effort to learn exactly what Jungkook needs. The pain he sees in Jungkook is gut-wrenching, pleasure and pain existing together in this moment for both of them. Does it feel good? Tae-hyung asked, pushing Jungkook in sweaty hair off his forehead. It hurts, Jungkook cried. Tae-hyung knew he wasn't talking about physical pain, but the pain of being connected as one again. The pain of Tae-hyung taking home in Jungkook's body again. Wanna make you feel good, you'll never hurt again. Come for me, baby, want you to feel so good, you make me feel good, Tae-hyung encouraged as he watched Jungkook's eyes roll back. That's it, good boy, let it all out, Tae-hyung moaned as Jungkook spilled over in his hand. That's my good boy, Tae-hyung cooed breathlessly as he smoothed Jungkook's hair, bringing him down gently from his high. Jungkook pulled Tae-hyung down on top of him, running his hands down his sweaty back. I still love you, Tae-hyung, Jungkook mumbled against his neck. Tae-hyung kissed his shoulder, guiding his fingers through his hair to ground himself. I still love you too, it will always be you, Jungkook, Tae-hyung admitted. I'm sorry, Jungkook started before Tae-hyung cut him off. No, baby, I understand now, you're right, it wouldn't work, but I'm here now. I transferred and I'm here now. I wasn't human without you. There's no me without you, Tae-hyung revealed. The puzzle was finally complete again, sleeping in each other's arms where they were always meant to be.